What we are going to talk about now is what campus resources or off-campus resources you can use in given situations. We have prepared a few scenarios, and they are multiple choice. We have 4 choices in each or most of the questions, and each of the questions may have 1 or more right answers. So let's get started.
So you've risen high in your organization, and now you supervise 2 junior scientists with H-1B visas from different cultures who withhold information from each other and accuse each other of incompetence. What would you do? Would you call the human systems consultant? Contact mediation services? Tell the scientists to work together or you will withdraw your sponsorship of their visas? Or choose A or B above? Correct answer is call the human systems consultant, contact mediation services, or choose A or B above. The human systems consultant is an individual the university has retained to assist in the resolution of just these kinds of issues. Mediation services also does that same thing.
All right, second question. The first week of classes, a student in your class seems very agitated. He paces around the room and talks to himself. When you try to talk to him, he looks away and won't respond. As a teacher, what should you do? A, call the police. B, ask for help from your department head or dean's office. C, walk the student to counseling services. D, file a code of conduct complaint for disrupting the learning environment. E, call student life and ask for help. So the correct answers: call the police. Now, this is correct if you really felt like this student was not going to cooperate with you. If they were obviously on down you have the option of walking to counseling services. Well, that's someone who's pretty cooperative and willing to accept the help. What happens in that situation, if you have a student who doesn't want help and continues to be disruptive and you can't communicate with them to settle them down, you're going to want to call the police. Your safety and the safety of the students in your classroom are more important. You need to get the police there for help. And asking for help from your department head. So if you've been able to kind of work it with the student and you just need some help as far as maybe classroom management ideas, talking to colleagues to see how they have handled these types of situations, probably be a good way to gather more information. So walking to the student counseling services, like I said, if they're wanting help and they're cooperative, that would be a good thing to do, because obviously there's some issues there that are probably mental health involved. Now, filing a code of conduct complaint for disrupting the learning environment is probably not a good answer unless there's really a serious disruption and there aren't other things going on. If it's just purely a student who is being difficult and uncooperative and is there to be disruptive, a student code of conduct complaint's a really good way to go, because that calls them to task for their behavior and they have to answer it, and there are consequences on top of whatever consequences you might have as a teacher. Another good answer is to call student life and ask for help. We get calls almost every day from faculty and staff wondering about how I might handle this situation or that, and we are happy to consult and work with faculty and staff to get ideas, or then to intervene with the student to help ascertain what's going on for that person and make sure that they have all the help that they need.
So when in doubt, call student services, the Office of Student Life, or if it has to do with faculty, call the Academic Personnel Office. You are an advanced graduate student. Your major professor is very demanding about her research and complains that you have not been doing your work diligently because you do not work 20-hour days in the lab. The pressure is getting to you and you feel it would be a terrible blow if you were not awarded the degree. You have been having self-destructive thoughts. What should you do? Should you drop out of the program? Go to counseling services, talk to the dean of the graduate school, threaten a lawsuit against your major professor. Well, dropping out of the program should not be your best approach. Going to counseling services would be a correct approach. If you can bring yourself to doing it, that would be the right thing to do. Talk to the dean of the graduate school because there are issues among faculty members and students that need to be dealt with, because even though we do want the programs to be demanding and challenging for our students, we don't want them to break our students and cause them not to finish their programs because it is not humanly possible to do it. Threaten a lawsuit against your major professor. That also would not be your recommended first choice, even though sometimes you feel like it.
A student has struggled during the entire semester with depression and anxiety issues. She is not coming to class or communicating with her teachers, friends, and family. She lives in an apartment alone. As her teacher, what should you do? Call the police and report a missing person? Ask one of her friends to go by her apartment and check on her? Call the Office of Student Life, inform them of her situation, and have them check on her? D, do nothing. Calling the police and reporting a missing person is probably not something that you might do as a teacher. That might be something that you'd call our office and let us do a little bit more investigation before we would make that step. Ask one of her friends to go by. I've had this happen a couple of times. A faculty said, well, she has a friend in the class, so I just asked them to go by. Well, in normal cases, that might be okay, but you never know what that individual might find when they get to the apartment or how that person might be received. So that's actually putting a student in a very difficult situation and something better that we could handle in student life. And we probably get a call like this nearly a week, or students that are missing. My favorite one was last week. We had a call from a parent who hadn't been able to contact her son in 2 days. He usually called a couple of times a day, and he hadn't called, and she was panicked, and she'd been trying to contact him and he didn't answer his phone. And so we emailed and actually went to one of his classes to try to catch him to see, are you doing okay, or what's going on? And he was there, and he goes, I just forgot to charge my phone. Tell my mom. I said, well, why don't you come to our office and you can call your mom on our phone so she's not worried. So, but anyway, that would definitely be a correct thing to do, is call our office and let us do some checking. And obviously, don't do nothing. Don't do nothing. Please be sure that you communicate those kinds of concerns, because occasionally it is a situation that is very serious.